Welcome to tonight's episode of Digging the Dirt. Tonight we'd like to take you to the top 5 sites, the top 5 archaeological discoveries that will change the world a little bit post-pandemic. For site number 5, we're going all the way to the West Java province of Indonesia, to a site called Gunung Panang, the Mountain of Light. Sacred to the Sundanese people, the site of Gunung Padang was first explored by the Dutch in 1914. A natural volcano long since gone extinct, there have been claims by some archaeologists that the terraces here go back 20,000 years. A huge history of human development on this site. Others claim that though it obviously is a huge megalithic site, the largest in Southeast Asia, a lot of the forms here are natural, and that there may be chambers discovered by ground radar underneath these stones, but they're natural as well. Nobody as yet knows whether this is the oldest temple known to man going back to the end of the Ice Age, or a natural volcanic plug that's been well used and worshipped for at least 5,000 years. Jury is still out on this one. If Graham Hancock is right, then this is the oldest civilization known to us, the oldest civilization ever discovered, the oldest pyramid in the world. And if he's wrong, well, this is still one of the most beautiful countries in the world to come and visit. Stonehenge and Avebury Associated Monuments World Heritage Site. One of the most intensively studied areas of archaeological interest in the world. Surely after a century and a half of fieldwork, there was nothing new to be discovered here. But that was what people thought, until the Stonehenge Hidden Landscape project began. By mapping the area underneath and around Stonehenge, huge anomalies began to be discovered. It has long been appreciated that during the Neolithic, 5,000 years ago, the very landscape itself was used by the prehistoric peoples in ways we're only just beginning to understand. Only 3 kilometres from Stonehenge, 25 kilometres from Avebury, in a landscape famed for its ritual monumental building, perhaps Britain's largest prehistoric site was hiding just below the surface. Durrington Shafts, a remarkable series of pits, 5 metres deep, 10 metres in diameter, in a 3-kilometre radius around Durrington Walls, itself one of the largest henges in the south of England. Why these pits are there, no one knows. Who dug them? It was in the Neolithic. Their purpose, why people went to so much effort, it's one of the great mysteries and one of the joys of archaeology. If you're coming down to Wiltshire for a walk around Stonehenge and Avebury, take time to go to Durrington Walls and have a look and think about what is underneath your feet. For site number 3, we're going all the way to the Brazilian-Colombian border. Here, deep in the Amazon forest, a remarkable discovery has been made at Serrania La Lindosa. To get here is not easy. First you have to travel hours and hours and hours up country, normally on a boat. The nearest town to these remarkable discoveries, San Jose de la Guaravera, it's probably a 4-hour drive followed by several hours on foot, and it's not the bushmaster snakes, it's not the alligators, the caimans that are your big worry here. It's humans, of course. There is a double war going on in this part of the Amazon. On one side, there is an uneasy truce between the FARC guerrillas, communist-backed, fighting the Colombian government. On the other hand, there are the narco-criminals farming huge amounts of cocaine out in the jungle. All but inaccessible, the Rockahat is actually from a time probably at the end of the last ice age, when the climate was very different in the Amazon basin. The art shows geometric shapes, human figures, handprints, but it's the hunting scenes that are quite extraordinary. Over 12 kilometers in total, an ice age collection of art of mastodons and giant sloths, animals that no longer exist on this earth, an incredible sight. Site number 2 is the Ness of Brodgar, an incredible archaeological site covering over 6 acres. It sits between the Ring of Brodgar and the stones of Ness in the heart of Neolithic Orkney. Discovered in 2003, these ceremonial buildings are at the heart of the Neolithic world. Skara Brae is to the west, Maes Howe is to the east, the Ring of Brodgar, a few hundred meters away, really is in the heart of Neolithic Orkney. The site itself was enclosed by a massive wall up to 4 meters thick, thicker in places than Hadrian's Wall. The site itself was in use for over 1,000 years, 75 generations, from about 3,300 BC to about 2,300 BC. Grooved ware pottery is found here, volcanic glass, which comes from the Hebridean Islands, is found here, stone from Cumbria. This was an important part of the Neolithic world. There is evidence too that in the largest buildings found so far on the site, over 400 cattle were consumed in one sitting. Whatever this building was, it was very, very important. For a time, the heart of the Neolithic world, the heart of Neolithic Europe, was here on the Orkney Islands. For our number 1 site, welcome to the southwestern region of Anatolia in Turkey. Alerted by the worked flint scatters on the surface and by the T-shaped pillars sticking out of the top of the tell, archaeologists in the 90s began investigating this tell. This is the site that was going to change everything. Dated to around 9,500 BC, that makes it 5,500 years older than the first cities of Mesopotamia, 7,000 years older than Stonehenge. Built at the very end of the last ice age, when hunter-gatherers were not supposed to have skills like this. They were also not supposed to be worshipping Sirius, which is possibly what this temple was aligned to. Built not far from the Fertile Crescent, where the ancestors of modern wheat and many modern domesticates came from, this really is the birthplace of the modern world. It simply shouldn't be here, but it is, and it simply shouldn't have been abandoned in its heyday, but it was. Göbekli Tepe, the Potbelly Hill, one of the great mysteries of archaeology.